Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? How's everybody doing? Can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can hear me real quick. Make sure Zoom or YouTube has not screwed up my mic settings. Not they would ever do that, but it is what it is. All right, awesome. All right, let's dive into it. So happy Tuesday. Very significant Tuesday. Anybody have any ideas why this Tuesday is so important? Actually, not even this Tuesday, but why this week is so important. Have you guys kind of taken a look to see what is going on fundamentally, what is going on a calendar side? What do we have? Well, yeah, it's NFP week. It's the first week of the month. What else is important about it? It's more important than just NFP week. OPEC and NFP? Nope. Something about the fiscal something or other. All right, so yeah, we're in a new quarter, right? Q4. We are in Q4. We also are at the beginning of fiscal year 2023. So we are now at the beginning of fiscal year 2023, meaning exactly that. All the institutional traders have now been given their new portfolios. Institutional traders are now trading off of fiscal year 2023. And yeah, so we have a new quarter, a new month, a new year. And traditionally, Q4 is what? Q4 is typically the most voluminous part of the market just because of all the earnings reports coming out of Q4. So yeah. So they are essentially back to trading. Yeah, everything's been completed, everything's been filed, and yeah, now they're coming back to trading. Obviously, we can see just this week alone, we've seen some more volatility coming into the market. Not so much price action wise, but you could definitely see more volume in candles, more orders being filled. So for me, that's huge, right? That is huge. Looking ahead, a bunch of people already said NFP. Yeah, the beginning of the month. We already saw last night. For those on the East Coast, it was last night. For, I guess some of you guys, it actually was during the day. But what do we see yesterday? We saw something massive. We saw the Australian cash rate, the interest rate, where they projected a 0.5 interest rate hike only come into a quarter, right? Only into 0.25. So that's why we really saw the Australian dollar depreciate overnight. And not that that was any change. I mean, I've been very bearish on the Australian dollar. So cash rate for Australian not raised as high as they expected. Yeah. Market priced in a 0.5. So if you look at what's happening tonight, the Royal Bank of New Zealand is going to be doing the same thing. And they've priced in a 0.5 percentage increase. So if they follow suit with, I'm guessing is going to happen, they're going to come in at a quarter. And if they come in at a quarter, what are we going to see with the New Zealand currency? We're going to see things like NU and NCAD depreciate. Oh, for the love. 1 second. All right, sorry. Had the wife texting me something real quick. So I'm eager to see what happens with that because I'm definitely looking for some manipulation on the Australian dollar from tonight's news, and I'm also going to be looking obviously for New Zealand manipulation. And I'll kind of I guess game plan what my intention is and what I want to really do with those specific currencies. Someone did mention OPEC. Yeah, there's OPEC meetings all day tomorrow. And obviously that's going to greatly affect price of oil. I'm not much of an oil trader, but that's going to affect oil, but it's also going to affect momentarily the Canadian dollar based off of what is happening with that. So, we have that, but we also do have ISM manufacturing, which is greatly going to affect US indices. All right. And then lastly, coming into the end of the week, Canadian dollar jobs report, US dollar jobs report. So I would imagine, and this is something I was kind of talking about this morning, a lot of the JPY crosses are now on my radar. We've seen the pullback. We've seen price really do some really good price action. So I'm going to be focusing most of my attention this week on JPY crosses. I'm still very bullish on the dollar. Nothing's changed with that. But I honestly don't think we are going to see much of in the way of me getting into new entries this week on US dollar crosses until one of two things happens. Either dollar pushes a little lower, which I really would appreciate and we can do, or it reaccumulates. And if it reaccumulates, I'm going to have to wait for the pullback anyway. So when it comes to the dollar, that's really what I'm going to be focused on. Talking about CAD news, EuroCAD is also in a sell area. Okay, good. I mean, good job. I don't trade EuroCAD, so I mean, good luck with it. If it's anything like GCAD, I think it's been in the same range for the last 12 years. So, I mean, I looked at EuroCAD maybe 2 years ago, and that was the last time I think I traded EuroCAD. But good luck with it. Yeah. I'm more focused on specifically ACAD, NCAD, and UCAD. So, but yeah, going forward, I'm really focused on JPY crosses. I'm going to definitely be paying attention to some CAD crosses, and the ones I'm really looking at again are ACAD, NCAD. So I'm looking at ACAD this week, NCAD, and continuation sells. Right, I'm still massively bearish. I'm still holding a bunch of shorts on these. Looking at UCAD buys. And then, of course, I'm looking at NU and AU shorts are really going to be my focal point. And then on the JPY crosses, I'm continuing to look for CAD-J buys, AJ buys, NJ buys. And as of this morning, thanks to thanks to Thomas, Euro JPY is back on the table. I think Euro JPY has been on my secondary list for probably like 6 months. So GJ's there, but GJ is kind of like down there in priority. You know, I prefer what EJ, CADJ, AJ, and NJ are doing. So that's really what I'm going to be focused on. So kind of jumping into the charts, we'll take a look at what I'm looking at here, okay? All right. So jumping in to what we've got here. Yeah, I mean, ideally just focusing first on what the dollar is doing. So USD, this is where I'm looking at, right? I'm looking to see this is what caused my break. Oh, hold on. This is what caused my break right up here. So this is what's maintaining my order flow. This is my slingshot. So obviously, if we do come in here this week, which we're starting to get in there, you know, I want to see evidence of buyers. So I want to see evidence of buyers come into this area here, or I want to see it most importantly come into this area here. And this is where we have some significant divergence. Why? Because one, we created a new low where on Euro USD, we essentially did this, right? On Euro USD, instead of making that high like we do here on DXY, we made the low. So there was divergence in here telling me that what Euro USD is the leader. So I do want to see if we do come back and mitigate our manipulation out of the laggard. So these are going to be the 2 points I'm really focused on. If we do get something in here, which, you know, I'd be interested in playing potentially something tomorrow out of it. And if not, I need us to continue to come lower. Right. So, and that's it. I mean, there's nothing else I'm really doing with dollar crosses. And until the dollar really comes into the point of interest, I'm not interested in trying to short, you know, GU, EU, NU, AU. I'm really not even interested in trying to long any of the dollar crosses until I see evidence of buyers coming back into the dollar from their mitigation point. All right. So, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys have the same outlook on DXY. It's pretty, for me, it's pretty self-explanatory, you know. Let me fix this. Otherwise it's going to give, there we go. So this is ideally what I'm waiting on. Moving along with it, you know, like how does that pertain to Euro USD? It's the same exact chart, right? I mean, we come, this is what's maintaining my leg, and this is that divergence I'm talking about right here, where this low on dollar index actually makes the high. So I'm going to be looking for price to come back into the redistro, which is my slingshot. You could see it's 50% of the entire manipulation move for the redistro. Or I want us to come back up here into the distribution. So, you know, point of interest number 1 for me, point of interest number 2, you know, and I'm not doing much until we get up in there. We have seen a really clean pullback on dollar. I mean, prices accumulated, reaccumulated, going all the way up. So now it's just a matter of just be patient. I'm just going to sit here and wait on sellers to come into the market on Euro USD, right? And until I really see that that buyers are coming in on the dollar side, there's no point in me doing anything with Euro USD. All right. But these are the two areas I'm really going to be focused on. I do believe that if, let's just say hypothetically, we trade above this and we get up into this area here, there's not going to be anything for me until Friday. Friday is going to be the manipulation. So Friday NFP news is probably going to be the catalyst for whatever manipulation they're going to be causing before this moves in the direction it's going to go into, which in my opinion, it's going to be bearish. All right. So that's what I'm looking for on EU, and GU is the same exact thing, right? GU for me, as soon as this, there we go. GU for me is this right here. Okay. So what do we know? We know that price broke this low. This was here's your ice. This is the redistribution that caused this entire move. This is your slingshot. So I wanted us to get above this high today, which we did. And now this is where I'm really going to be focused on. This is my first point of interest. And depending on what we do tonight, I mean, we could very easily see some sellers coming into this market. Looking at it today, I mean, there's just not a lot in end of New York session. That's why I really don't give too much credence to end of New York session. But if this is in fact the schematic, maybe we get something like this, and then I'd wait for the break and then short this down. If not, I'm going to wait for this to come a little bit higher. So ideally, GU is just it's a waiting game now. Let the distribution kind of start to show itself. I don't need to be on a 5-second chart for this. I mean, if you look, even just looking back at some of the most recent distributions that occurred here, occurred up in here, right? This distribution on itself took a whopping day and a half, right? So we're talking 30 plus hours. I'm perfectly fine just sitting back and waiting. And if that means that tomorrow is when the distribution starts to show itself and we don't confirm anything until Thursday, all right, so be it. I'm perfectly fine taking my time waiting. And let's just say I do get into a trade from up here. Well, I've got a target of almost 1,200 pips. So 1,200 pips on something sub 5 pip stop loss. Yeah, that's all I need. I mean, that'll be my trade for the week. That's all I would really even try to focus on. So GU and EU, pretty similar. And even that much on AU and NU, right? So on AU and NU, same thing, like this distribution up here is what's maintaining my order flow. So do I think we're going to get up there? I don't think we're going to get up there. I think if anything, we're probably going to play into FOMC's candle here. And that's why I've kind of got this outlined is to see if we do get up into this area. And if we don't get up into this area, what I do believe is going to happen is this is just going to turn into a massive redistro. Right. So looking at it already, I mean, it could potentially give us that. And we've got the sweep of weak-handed sellers. We do have a distribution here, and this thing could just sell off. I won't be ready to pull the trigger on it until we do confirm the redistribution. Right. Otherwise, I want to see it push up higher. I do want to see it potentially come up into this area here. Or, I mean, again, I would be ecstatic if we could come up right in here. If we could come into this area here, I'd be more than happy. But looking at what AU has done most recently, there's no reason for it. I mean, that would mean that dollar would continue to be weak, but we need help from the Australian dollar, right? The Australian dollar would need to show just some massive amount of buyers coming into the market to try to push this up, and if you look at Australian futures chart, that isn't even showing anything there, right? How do I know? Because if you look at the AU chart, you've already seen the Australian futures chart, right? I mean, this is it. This is what it looks like on the hour. Does this give you a tremendous amount of confirmation that buyers are coming in the market? No. If we jump over here to Australian futures, there it is. It's the same exact chart. Does this give you a lot of confirmation that buyers are coming into this market? No. There isn't. So sure, dollar can be, momentarily weak. We could see a depreciation on the dollar, which would give AU a little drive to the upside. But unless the Australian dollar really starts to show signs of buyers coming back in the market, I don't see a reason for that to happen. Fundamentally, there's nothing there. Technically, I don't see it either. Right. So AU, very similar to what I'm going to be anticipating with GU and EU, and then same thing on NU side, right? NU side, again, it's a comparable strength asset to what AU is. And just looking at it, I mean, you can already see the makings of a redistribution. We've got, liquidity that was sitting here in the form of weak-handed sellers. We do have a distribution in the making. All that I really need is some manipulation, right? All I really need is maybe something like this to then cause the break. And then we have that redistribution. Well, what do I have coming up very shortly that can potentially cause manipulation, right? We got New Zealand news coming out. So that's something I'm going to be paying attention to, especially tonight. I'll wake up tomorrow morning, see what the news did, see what we did during London, and then start game planning on how I'm going to potentially work in an entry. Obviously, if we don't have any weakness coming out of it tonight and out of Frankfurt and London sessions, then, it's really not going to be on the forefront of my game plan for tomorrow. I'm not interested in trying to buy NU at all. I'm just going to sit back and wait for the shorts. And again, much like AU, if we come into the distribution that is maintaining the entire leg, I'd be really, really happy with it. So that's really the only thing that I'm going to be really paying attention to. Give me 1 second. Bear with me. And like I said, tonight's call is going to be a little quick. I do have a volleyball game that both my daughters are playing in that I've got to watch. So, but we'll get through it. We'll get through most of the stuff real quick. On NU, I mean, pretty simple. That's ideally what I'm going to be looking for, and, again, what I really want to target is new lows on both AU and NU, right? I want to target this low down here, and we should get there. Okay. Looking over at some of the dollar cross side, USD CAD, nothing about USD CAD is really giving me any signs of anything other than just bullishness, right? The one thing I am going to be looking for is I do want to see we are in active distribution on UCAD. So we have properly distributed. Now I'm just going to be sitting back waiting. The first area that I want to really, really pay attention to is this is the reaccumulation that broke the high, essentially becoming my slingshot. So if we can get down there, which is about 350 plus pips, if we can get down there, that's what I'm going to be looking for. The only other thing that's going to get me into a buy on UCAD is I start seeing evidence of buying on the dollar, which means that I should be starting to see evidence of buying on UCAD, and then we confirm the reaccumulation. Well, now what do we have? We have a distribution that has given me a shakeout and caused a new high. So I'm looking for mitigation of that to take this higher. And that's really all I'm going to be doing with UCAD. Really, it's just going to be a game of just sitting back and just waiting for price to come to my point of interest, or I'm going to be just going and waiting for the new high. Why does that distro hold the entire leg on NU? Why does that distro hold the entire leg on NU from the order flow? You mean? You talking about this right here? Because that's what's maintaining the order flow from once we broke order flow here, we were bullish, and then we broke it here. So we became bearish. And did we ever have a pullback after that with the market cycle? No. So this for me is what is maintaining my order flow leg. This distribution up here is what is maintaining my lower time frame structure because of this break. So this is holding structure, and this is holding order flow. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah. So UCAD again, I'm most definitely just continuing to look for bullishness, and ideally what I'm going to be looking to do is if we can get, let's just say hypothetically, price can work itself down into somewhere in here. What am I looking at? I'm looking at a 700 plus pip move to the upside. So I really do want UCAD to give me that pullback. And if it does, great. If it doesn't, like I said, what am I prepared to do? Well, we have an active distribution. Could we see price do something like this, come back to mitigate, and then take this higher? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, hold on. There we go. You were thinking structure. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's all it was. It's order flow, not structure. So UCAD, that's what I'm looking at. And just to kind of go over the rest of the dollar crosses, UCHEF is on my secondary list. I'm not really doing much with UCHEF at this point. I'm still bullish on it, but when we look at, let me just hide all my drawings for a second. Otherwise it's going to be all convoluted. When we look at UCHEF, I mean, what do we have? We know that we are bullish from here. We know that this is maintaining the order flow leg. And then from there, what have we done? Nothing. We haven't broken this low. So if we come down here, I'm looking for buys. We've essentially done this and then we broke, right? And this is actually where we broke. So realistically, this is maintaining the lowest form of order flow like this. So, ideally, if this distribution comes down into something here or something here, right, out of this accumulation, I'll play it. It's going to be order flow of order flow. I'd rather play something out of structure. I'd rather play something out of an order flow leg than trying to play order flow of order flow. Okay. Or, the other thing that we could do is we could just come here and reaccumulate, and then I'd play lowest form of order flow out of here. So that's why this is sitting on the secondary list. For me, it's nothing that I really care too much about. I think that this overall distribution is just going to turn into a reaccumulation. Question is whether or not we come down here. And if that's the case, I'm a buyer, right? We are talking about 450 pips on UCHEF. I've been waiting for that since, realistically, ever since we broke this high, which happened back in April. I've been waiting for price to come back here. So until we do something with UCHEF, it's just going to sit on the secondary list. That's really all it's going to do. And then the last one is UJ, and what is UJ going to really get me? Well, UJ either needs to do one of two things. This is what's maintaining this leg. Okay. So we either need to pull back into down here, or this distribution needs to give me a reaccumulation. And I think we're going to get the reaccumulation before we get the pullback on UJ, because UJ hasn't pulled back in 2.5 years. So if we can get that, great. But until that happens, UJ is just going to sit on the secondary list. Talking about, the only other two yen crosses on my secondary list, we look at Chef JPY. Nothing's changed with Chef JPY. I'm still massively bullish on this. What do I want to see? I was really hoping that we can come back. No, that was garbage. I was really hoping that we can come back in here. It doesn't look like we're going to do that. We got the yen manipulation from news. And, what could this potentially be? It could be our shakeout. What do I need to wait for is this break. So, we're talking about, this was an 800 pip candle. So it's going to take a while for Chef J to either confirm the break or to pull down. I'm not playing in the middle. There's no reason for me to play in the middle. So I'll continue holding my Chef J longs, and I'm just going to wait for price to, do something. I'm going to wait for price to either break here or come back down here. Either way, we're talking 500 to 600 pips either way. So it's just going to sit on my secondary list. And then lastly, the only other yen cross that we were looking at was GJ. And I kicked myself for not having this limit on, but it is what held intraday structure. When we look at price broke this high, this was the accumulation right here that caused that break. I mean, I don't even know. I think we looked at it this morning. It was like a 1 to 155 or something like that. But, go back and look at it, take a look at this price action, go back. I mean, you can go down to a 15-minute time frame and you could see, all right, what's price doing? Well, price is accumulating, right? I mean, we could see evidence of buyers in the market, 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 and then ultimately the last buyers in the market that ends up breaking the entire trading range. So, we looked at it. The 88-minute candle was the full volume candle that some of us found. The 88-minute right there, which was the entire full volume candle, 80% of that 88-minute. And then if you just go down to like the 15, I mean, you could see the 15-minute was something else I was looking at as well. But there's your accumulation, right? There's 1, 2, 3 drive. There's your terminal shakeout. And this is ultimately what was maintaining structure. So, 80% of the 88-minute candle. I was also looking at 50% of that 15-minute candle. That's something I was watching. But that's ultimately where GJ came. She came all the way down during news. There's the wick. And since that move, prices, I don't even know. What are we talking? 149 to 165. I mean, that's a good amount of pips. She's already gone, 1,600 pips in the matter of 8 days. So something I've been looking at, especially since we've broken some order flow, is I do want to wait until we break out above this distribution. This is the distribution that broke order flow. But I really do think we're going to come here. This is where I think it's going to come in. This is my first point of interest where I'm even going to start to even care about GJ. It's going to be out of this reaccumulation. And simply just because this reaccumulation, this is your distribution, right? This is what swept out all your weak-handed buyers, and that accumulation in there is what caused, ultimately what's happened in the last like 48 to 72 hours. So I think we come back into this, ideally, I think we probably sweep out Asian liquidity. This was the reaccumulation SC that caused the break, no longer of any value to me. But I do think we sweep that and we come back into here and maybe accumulate. That's probably what I would see. But again, it's not on the forefront. It's not on the highest priority of what I want to do. Talking about some of these yen crosses, what really I want to do is obviously start looking for some buys on the cleaner setups, and that's something I'm going to be focused on. Looking at CAD-J, right? Let's just get over to CAD-J. And so when we look at CAD-J, I mean, what do we know? Well, we know that CAD-J is massively bullish. We know that CAD-J, after breaking this high, this is what was maintaining. We make this entire leg here. Well, we accumulate in the 50% of it. And obviously it's not a type 1. I was hoping to get a type 1. I had some alerts here all week, and I was kind of hoping we'd get a type 1. Well, we didn't get it. It is what it is. How do I quickly change timeframes? What do you mean? How do you quickly change timeframes? Yeah, there you go. Just type the number in. Yeah, that's all you got to do. So if you want to go to the hour, just go to 60-minute. Or you can type in 2H for 2 hour, or you can go to the 5S for 5 seconds. Yeah, that's all it is, man. All right. So back to the 4 hour, as in the small window. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Does it work on the phone? I don't think so, man. I think if it's on the app, you got to have it already set up. So you got to come over here, dude, to the drop down. You got to add them in. You got to add in all your time frames that you want. My suggestion is this: I would suggest not to be marking up on your phone, but to each his own. Yeah, there you go. No worries. So anyway, so we've accumulated. We've got a pretty clean accumulation. I mean, you could see they've definitely taken their time to accumulate orders here, and we're talking better part of 11 days worth of accumulation. So jumping down, what I'm interested in seeing is I am now after this break of order flow. Hold on. There we go. So after this break right here of order flow, what I'm looking for now is this was your distribution, right? So this entire leg into the accumulation, that's what I want to see us kind of come back into. And if we can get that pull, essentially that pullback, what I want to do is anything below like the 105, 400 level. And this is representing the 50% of this move. So if we can get down here somewhere and I start to see some more appreciation, some more buyers come into CADJ, yeah, I'm definitely long in this. Just the upside potential on it. We're talking about what's the target new high, right? So looking at that 50%, I mean, let's just say price comes in there. What are we talking? We're talking 520 pips. Price comes into the 80%, starts to accumulate. We're talking 558 pips. CADJ, traditionally CADJ, I'm looking at 2.5 pip stop losses. So, you're realistically a 1 to 200, R to R on a CADJ buy if we can get price coming back into it. I'm not going to personally look for any continuation moves, meaning reaccumulations, until we take out this redistribution, right? This is the redistribution right here. This is where supply right here. This is where supply is in control from. So once we break this, so let's just say hypothetically, let's just say we do this and then we reaccumulate. So if that reaccumulation here is responsible for that break, then coming back into here is where I'll start playing continuation moves. Until then, I'm just going to wait for price to give me pullbacks down into here, and I'll look for buys. And that's pretty much how I'm going to look at doing CADJ. Hopefully that makes sense. Everybody good with that? Everybody looking at CADJ the same way? Anything different? Let me know. Yeah, so I mean, that's pretty much what I'm looking for. And I've kind of been waiting for CADJ to give me the pullback. I mean, what do we wait here? We waited almost when of this distribution. This distribution was in the middle of September. So we're almost 3.5 weeks into it. So CADJ is pretty much what I'm looking at there. AJ and NJ, very similar, right? You could see that, we ultimately broke this high. All right, coming back all the way into here. This was the manipulation. I was kind of hoping to get an accumulation somewhere in here. And what do we get? Do we have that presence of buyers in the market? And for me, yeah, we do. We look at what AJ did. AJ confirmed the break, came back into, believe it or not, 80% of the move. This was the accumulation that I was kind of hoping to get price back into. We didn't get low enough for me to really take an entry out of it. And then what do? We made a new high. So, I'm anticipating us to come back into this move here, which we've already tapped into the 50%. I think, I thought I had this on the 15, but we've already tapped into pretty close to that 50% of it. There's your 50%. And what I'm looking for now is just a break of order flow, right? Today's price action, what I was looking at in here was I saw that we accumulated. I saw that we reaccumulated. I was going to just kind of follow this up until we broke this high. And then I'd play pullbacks, right? I'd play a pullback to long it after that. One of the things I have noticed though, is we have made a new low, which sounds good. That's perfectly fine with me. Until we break order flow, I'm going to ideally wait for it to come lower. We've come into that 50%. If tonight with the manipulation of the news, we come lower and we start to accumulate down here, that's where I'll start looking for some entries on AJ. But the key is knowing that we broke this low. So when I look at what AJ is giving me, and again, AJ looks pretty clean for me. I look over at NJ and same concept, right? I mean, NJ, where did NJ come into? We were looking and waiting for NJ and AJ buys for a minute. And I wanted NJ to come back. We broke this high. I wanted NJ to come back into our manipulation. Here's the 80%, fell just shy of it, but just keep in mind how long this took, right? This high was printed around the 20th of April. And we finally broke that high, like the 13th of September. So we're talking a very long time for this to happen. And it, realistically, from the time we broke to the time price came back in was almost 6.5 months. So looking at what NJ gave us, yeah, same thing, right? We have accumulation, right? We have that break of order flow, price coming back into that 80%, and we've made a new high. So what am I waiting for? Just waiting for price to come in here. Something I was looking at this morning out of NJ, just really no reason for me to buy it, right? When we look at what NJ's done, what has NJ done? Well, yeah, we accumulated here, but what do we do? All we did was just come right back into the 80% of the distro. And there's no reason for me to look for buys out of here. Why? Because this move was already broken on AJ. So we have that divergence. So for me, NJ's giving me the anticipation that we're going to come lower, which is perfectly fine, because what's my anticipation on NJ? That this is going to be a reaccumulation. I'm already anticipating that we've got a ton of weak-handed buyers that are sitting here. The news is going to come out tonight. We're going to get a flush out. Essentially, it's going to shake out those weak-handed buyers, potentially break some order flow, come back to mitigate, and then up we go. And that's how ideally I'm going to look for it. That's my anticipation. What you got, man? Can this be possible? So what is this for you? I mean, can KJ come lower? Sure, KJ can come lower. But why this? Why 103, 522? Any clue? Why 103, 522? Why is that what you're looking for? Just a deeper, yeah, but I mean, if we're accumulating here, you got clear evidence of buyers in the market. For me, I'm not anticipating it come lower, especially if the yen ends up redistributing, which I think it's going to, then you're not going to get any help from that. Yep. So I wouldn't hold your breath on it. Just look at any yen cross over the last 2.5 years. When was the last time we saw any kind of deep mitigation? I mean, you really don't. Just look at KJ. You don't have any deep mitigation. So I mean, you can wait all day for it. I can tell you personally what I'm doing is I'm going to be using my lower time frame confirmations, and I'll be looking for buys. So I mean, yeah, if obviously this for me is a significant point of interest, it's the redistro. Like I expected, if I start to see distribution going on in here and we don't break this high, yeah, then for sure, I mean, I'll be definitely more cautious about what's happening here. But if we break this high, yeah, for me, there's no anticipation of us coming lower. Did I look at indices? No, I haven't looked at indices. I took a loss on KJ this morning. What were you trying to do with KJ? Yeah, what were you trying to do with it? On AJ, is lowest form of order flow not being held at 94,721. Let's take a look. The lowest form of order flow. Lowest form of order flow. Okay, well, what do you mean by the lowest form? Like the order flow leg? Now, the order flow leg is being maintained from here. That's your order flow leg. And then 94,721. Let's see. Hold on. So you're saying why would this be maintaining the lowest form of order flow? So did this not break here? So you have this to this, right? Does price not trade back into the SC that causes that break in here? And then do we not ultimately create a new low? So from there, the way I'm looking at it, it's technically actually going to be this, not this high. I think I just looked at it this high when I was drawing it up. I was anticipating that this was going to be the spring. So I was waiting for this break, but once we come back into here, this is now our order flow. So this was the order flow break. And then we do this. So for me, it goes like this to this, to this, to this. So lowest form that I care about from order flow is going to be here. You know, I mean, heck, you can go all the way down to a 1 second to see the lowest form of order flow that you want. I mean, technically this was a break of order flow here. So you're bearish like this. So you're actually bearish order flow from this on the lowest form that I would really even care about. But this is the leg. Yeah, this is the leg. So I don't care about, I mean, unless, let me look at your picture again. So does it not matter that it failed to go at least 50%? I thought on a schematic going at least the 50% shows buyers. Where in the manual does it say that it needs to go 50% to show buyers? So it does. Wait, so does it not matter that it failed to go at least the 50%? Yeah, I don't know what you mean by the 50%. I thought on a schematic going at least the 50% shows buyers. The 50%. So all right, yeah. Can you maybe explain that differently? Because I don't know what you mean by the 50%. 50% of the trading range? Yeah, is that what you're talking about? Yeah, but what are you talking about? It didn't go 50% of the trading range. I mean, looks like a pretty simple trading range to me, right? I mean, climax, test, 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 spring. I mean, this looks like it's a pretty cleanly played out trading range. Unless you're talking about something differently. I think Mike is right. From a structure and order flow point, it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, this again, like this. I mean, just look at it on the 5-minute, right? So accumulation, reaccumulation, distribution. That distribution causes the break. So you are bearish like this. The redistribution is essentially your slingshot into what? Into an accumulation that ultimately would be the mitigation of it. And then as price collapses here, this is now what is maintaining your order flow, right? It's this redistribution because essentially the accumulation falls apart. So it possibly means 50% of the retrace. Okay. Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't need price to go 50% retracement for it to be, I just need a market cycle. You know, what if it goes 47%, but you have a accumulation into a distribution, which causes a new low? That's all I need. You know, So we are just going to see what price is going to do there on what, on AJ? Yeah, I mean, for me on AJ, I don't need to do anything. I don't need to do anything else with AJ. I mean, for me, we've already broken order flow. I mean, even if you want to say, even if you want to look at it and say, okay, so, what gets me into a trade right now? Well, we are being respected. This is the order flow here. So I want it to push lower and I want to start to see accumulation in here. If we ultimately break below this low, I'm done looking for buys until we come down into that down there. So, yeah. All right. Sounds good. All right. So that's AJ, NJ. What was the other one? Oh, EJ, right? EJ was the other one that I'm looking at as well. And, we talked about GJ. EJ's looking pretty clean as well. I like EJ. What was I looking for? I felt like I waited forever for this thing. So, let's just look at the order flow, right? I mean, this is how long it's been since I really marked anything up with it. So hold on. There we go. So we come here, we make a new high. That new high, we come back into 80% of the previous push, we accumulate, and then what do? We make a new high, right? So we were anticipating price, or at least I was really anticipating price to come back into this last push. This was the 80% of it. This was the 50% of it. And yeah, I mean, we saw price come in. It didn't come as deep as I wanted it to, but what do we see? We saw evidence of buyers in this market. And so, okay, so now I could start kind of coming up with a game plan of what I want to do. We back tested EJ in here this morning. It gave an opportunity for a buy. I mean, I don't know what that thing would have been at. 550 pips on a 6.3 pip stop is what we back tested. Nice little 1 to 87. But more importantly, what have we done? The redistribution, where sellers ultimately kind of created this entire push to the downside we broke, right? And more importantly, what I'm waiting on now, or what I was waiting on this morning at least, was that we were going to break this high right here, which we did, right? So we broke that high. So for me now, we've got that shift of momentum that I was looking for. We're definitely seeing evidence of, buyers coming back into the market. What I really would like to see, and it's really going to be dependent on what UJ is doing, is I want to see UJ reaccumulate. Because if UJ reaccumulates, that means that the yen itself has redistributed. And we're really going to start to see if tremendous weakness comes in the yen, no matter what's on the other side of it, we're going to just see bullishness coming out of it. So for the most part, this is what's maintaining the lowest form of order flow. So as price comes back, if we can get something in here, that's really where my stand is going to be. 1 minute entry on EJ. A 1 minute entry on EJ for what? Yeah, where? On the back test? No, I don't think we went 1 minute. Yeah, I don't think we went 1 minute. I don't think there was a need to. It was, I mean, heck, you could have done it on the 15-minute for all I mean, realistically, that's what it was. I mean, could you go on the 1 minute? Sure. I mean, you can go on the 1 minute there, and that's what it was. I mean, yeah, that's all she wrote. This was your spring right there. So I personally, and this is what I said this morning, I wouldn't have taken it just because it really doesn't give me a true spring. There was on a couple of feeds like FXCM, you could see a little bit deeper of a spring, but I'll tell you right now, this thing goes, I think, 1 pipette below Asian price action. So for me, it's not something that I put a lot of risk into. And then of course news, realistically, you never get filled on this anyway, because what happens, we break. This is the this is the break caused by news, meaning that this is now what needs to be retraced. And if you mark out this to this, that was the 80% move, which again, this is all news based. what does this really trade down? This trades down 3.3 pips. So depending on what your broker gives you at news, I mean, you could have gotten filled. I mean, I could tell you right now, EJ, I haven't really paid attention to spreads during news, but I could tell you GJ, I've seen GJ go to like 8-9 pips on spread on some of these, especially like not so much FTMO, but I know TPT. I know what was the other one I was looking at the other day? TPT, Blue Forex funds, and I think MFF I've seen. I think that 8-cap broker that what is it, the funded trader program that they use, I don't think has a lot of manipulation, but definitely I could tell you TPT. There's no way I get filled on TPT with that. So, but yeah, that was the EJ. I mean, again, just look at the reactions. I mean, what happened here? Something caused that. What happened here? Something caused that. What happened here? Something caused that. What are we doing here? Buy orders getting filled, and look at the reaction. And then ultimately we come in, look at the reaction, and then bye-bye she goes. I mean, that was just massive buy orders. So looking at the schematic itself, I mean, you've got nothing keeping you from really pursuing the buy. The only thing that I would say I would have been really, really hesitant on is why didn't they sweep this? I mean, I know why they didn't sweep it more, because they didn't have to fill any more orders, but why didn't they have more orders? Why didn't somebody with another $500,000 or $1 million want to come in and throw another position in to force this to just go down 1 pip? Because that's all I would have wanted, was 1 pip. 1 pip, let the news break. This would have been the BOS that I would have needed, and then we come back into it. That's all it was. So very similar. What's my favorite prop firm overall? No, man, I don't have an allegiance to a prop firm. I'll be honest. I use and abuse prop firms, and that's it. Use them for what they are. Just I use them as a way to absolve myself of any liability. You have $1 million that you're trading on prop firms. If the prop firm shuts down tomorrow, have you lost $1 million? No. You have $1 million of your personal money in a brokerage, and that brokerage shuts down. You got a lot of liability on the line. You're gonna be calling some PO box. You're gonna be calling to some Caribbean third world country to see if the local police officer, who also dubs as the restaurant cook, can go down and check to see if anyone is home at the address to this IP server that you're using for your brokerage, wondering where your money's at. So for me, I don't have any allegiance to prop firms. I mean, I test a couple of them out here and there. I mean, it's all up to your own strategy and how you like to utilize them. I can tell you that I've been with TPT now going on like 2.5 years, and I've never had an issue with TPT. The only downside of TPT, I'll tell you right now, is their spreads are garbage. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. Every prop firm has pros and cons. You just got to figure out which one is more meaningful to you. All right, so that's EJ. EJ is pretty self-explanatory. Moving over, just ACAD and NCAD. I mean, very, very similar price action. I'm again looking for massive bearishness on this. We look at what prop firm is TPT, the prop trading firm, TPT. It's an Australian firm. So yeah. So what I'm looking at here on ACAD is just continuation shorts. I really do like the price action we've been seeing on it. We definitely, the distribution up here is what's maintaining, right? We come back past into the 50%. We distribute beautifully, break order flow, right? Break order flow. News comes back in last night to the 80%. It makes a new low. So yes, we could trade higher, right? I mean, when we look at this, the entire, let's just go to like the 1 hour chart for a sec. And here, there we go. Do I need to wait for this low to get broken? No. Is it going to get broken tonight? Yes. Once this gets broken, this distribution is what's maintaining the whole shebang, right? What do I care about right now? Well, we broke here. That distribution's on the table. The 80% is on the table for me. That's something I'm willing to take if we can get up there. And if we can't get up there, what am I looking at? Today's New York price action, right? We distributed out of New York price action today. That's something I'll be really focused on, and this is what I'm talking about. So this is the distribution. This is that super clean distribution that I'm talking about, right? This is your UTAD right there. London price action sweeps out Asian highs. Ended up breaking the low. So that 80% is on the table for me. And then what I'm going to be looking at is, this is the low, this is the low. So this is maintaining the order flow. New York price action's a slingshot. We come up into the distribution that we got today during New York. That's where I'm going to be looking for a short, right? That's the first area. And if not, I'll be looking, come into that 80%, sweep out all the weak-handed buy or sellers here to short this off. I mean, to me, it's pretty self-explanatory on what I'm going to be doing with ACAD. The chart's pretty simple to read. And like I said, I have I mean, I think we haven't broken it yet, but I have every intention of seeing ACAD break this 87.36 within the next 24 hours. I'm pretty sure we're going to do that. So I do like ACAD. I've been shorting ACAD, man. I feel like I've been shorting ACAD for like 2 years. And you look at the daily chart, and yeah, I mean, we have been. I mean, we've been ever since we traded into this higher time frame up here, which was what, March of 2021. So it's been a year and a half that we've been shorting this, and we've just been continuing to ride this down. And what's my overall target? Make a new low. I want to break that 80-cent mark. That's where I want to take it. So we got about, what are we talking, like 800 more pips to go to get down there. On NCAD side, it's going to be the same exact thing. NCAD's already broken that low. NCAD's definitely the leader, definitely showing the weakness, and pretty similar price action, right? I mean, we could see NCAD's just kind of fallen off the face of the earth. I do anticipate, here's your accumulation, there's your ICE. I do anticipate us redistributing and making this the redistribution. One of the things I'm really going to be focused on is we have broken the low, and this is what's maintaining our order flow. So if we do come back up into New York today, that's going to be something that I'm going to be focused on in the next like 24 to 48 hours, is looking for potential shorts out of today's New York price action to just keep shorting this off. All right. So that's NCAD. That really rounds up what I'm looking for currencies. For the most part, the game plan for me, again, yen crosses and ACAD and NCAD are going to be at the forefront until I really see some buyers coming into what the dollar index is doing. And then once we get past that, hold on, sorry, guys. I'm trying to breeze through this because my daughter's game's starting. So I'm going to run over. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to run over into the gym and watch them play. Okay. So that's NCAD. And yeah, like I said, I mean, yen crosses, ACAD and NCAD are going to be at the foreground. And then once dollar really starts to present itself, then I'm going to start focusing on the dollar crosses. On the indice wise, I mean, we're getting perfect price action. I mean, the anticipation is that we are going to be short-term bullish, and what I'm anticipating is this is going to be really what I want to focus on to try to short the market off, or, this is what's maintaining the leg. If we do come back down, what I'm going to be looking for is buys to get up into that area, on US 30. If we just look at, where I would want to buy this from, we're talking, I mean, realistically, let's say she comes back to the 50%, she does come back into the 50%. I mean, we're talking neighborhood of, what is that? We're talking 3,500 points on US 30. 35, well, let's see, 33,483 points, or for some of you guys in those trading groups, that's 34,830 pips, man. That's a lot of pippage. So anyway, for me, it's going to be worth it. So I'm going to be looking for, I was kind of looking to see if we're going to get the distribution today. It looks like we are. Let that distribute back down. I'm really going to be focused on this New York price action right here. That's what is really getting my attention. I'm going to be looking for an accumulation out of that. This is something I was talking about. What happened here? Well, this is when new portfolios came out, right? And we just saw the market breeze up for, I think it was like 1,700 points. Last time I checked, was it? Let's see, this entire move in the last 24 hours, 1,700 points, so tons and tons and tons of money really coming in. Where do you think is the next significant low for dollar index? Yeah, you're on YouTube. Just rewind to the beginning. I talked about DXY was the first chart I looked at. So yeah, US 30, that's what I'm going to be looking for. I am going to be really watching to see where we are tomorrow, New York session. If we do in fact show ourselves down here, I'm going to be looking for buys. I was looking for a potential buy this morning, but it never really gave anything. There was no manipulation. There was nothing. It was just all continuation move. Nothing really to get in at a decent risk to reward. So U30 and just like its sister, right? SPX, I'm doing the same exact thing. I'm going to be looking for, and actually I can probably just line this up just the same way. There we go. So we've got the distribution, right? And I'm going to be looking for price now to come back into New York price action from yesterday. And, that's about the 50%. I'll be looking for evidence of buyers in that. Okay. If for some reason the distribution here presents itself tomorrow, and what I mean by that is, we're starting to get into Asian session, maybe we do something like this and we get that Frankfurt sweep, and then we get the break. I have no problem trying to sell this down because structure wise, we are bearish on it, So, I've been talking about, like on US 30, I've been talking about my targets have been for a very long time, 27K, so if the distribution here allows me to get in, I'll take it. But if it doesn't, if we just sell off during Asian session and then tomorrow when I wake up for New York, we're down here, I'll look for a buy on it. That's really what I want to do with it, because I don't think we're going to massively sell off until we come back and at least mitigate this redistribution. This is the redistribution that I feel we're going to come back and mitigate. I've asked before, but lost the video in which you explained how to put the Asian yellow and Frankfurt sweep colors area on the chart. Yeah, just find any kind of session indicator and just throw it on there. I mean, there's tons of indicators. You just find any session tool, sessions on the chart, Asian session indicator, whatever it is, and just put it on there. I mean, it all depends on the one you're using. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty much what my take on indices are going to be. I'm still massively looking, do you use a tool to calculate the lot sizes? Yeah. I use a position size calculator on MT5. So, yep. Yeah. I have a video on my YouTube channel on how to put it on for your desktop. So it's through earnforex.com. It's a position size calculator. So yeah, I mean, that's really my take on indices, and like I said, I mean, I've on, what was it? No, I mean, that's the greatest tool in the world, man. That PSE, we've been using it. Geez, I don't even know how long we've been using it. It's got to be 2 years. I couldn't even tell you how much quicker it is to use than going over to like whatever on your phone and trying to figure out your lot sizes and all that, especially with price moving. So, yeah, it was Patrick and Thomas. Patrick and Thomas were the ones that found it way back when, man. And I think they originally were using it on C Trader because Thomas is the official spokesperson for C Trader and IC Markets. If you ever have a complaint with IC Markets, you just got to DM Thomas and he'll take care of it for you. The official spokesperson of them. If you're using MT5, then the indicator is called day trader work time. Okay. Yeah. I think he's talking about marking it up on on TradingView. But yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of them. You can, yeah, Asian session range indicator, any of the indicators. You just gotta, I mean, just set the colors that you want to use. That's all it is. So, and then the times that you want to use it. Yeah. So on the, man, it feels like forever. Where's my, here you go. When was this? October 25th, 2021. This is ideally what I was expecting. You know, I was expecting the distribution and I wanted us to come down in here. And this was, yeah, October 21st, 2021 is when this was posted. And yeah, I mean, just look at where we're at today. I mean, that's there. Hold on. There we go. That's where we're at today. So maybe I'll do an update to this, but yeah, we're slowly getting there. The accumulation, I think, is just what's going to get us back into either the redistro up here, and then we got one more push to the downside. You use MT4. That's the same thing. You can if you're talking about the position size calculator, you can use it on MT4. But yeah. Yeah, that was a long time ago, man. A long time ago. What's my views on gold? So I mean, I've been bearish on gold for, I feel like, I don't know, a year. So I mean, my views on gold is what was my target? My target is down here. So my target for gold, do I have a cleaner chart? Let me see. Man, the gold charts are, there we go. Yeah, there's my target. So let's go to like a 12-hour. Yeah, nothing's changed. I mean, I'm still anticipating gold to get down into the 1500s. This is really what caused that all-time high. So yeah, I mean, nothing's changed. We were looking at shorts on gold, and you know, there was an opportunity out of that, but then we broke. So what am I anticipating? I'm anticipating it to come back up into here somewhere before it continues shorter. You know, nothing really much more to do with that. Yeah. I mean, gold is gold. I honestly haven't traded gold in at least a year, maybe even longer. I think the last trades on gold that I took were in here, I think. Let's see. Yeah, these were the big. Yeah. So, I mean, when was this? This was March 2021. So March 2021, these were all the positions that we took out of gold. I think we were trading up in here. And then it just went stupid, you know, like up in here, there was really nothing to do. And yeah, I mean, I've been short on gold for a decent while now. And yeah, I'm just anticipating it coming back into here. Yeah, there's nothing much to do with it. EG. Well, before we do EG, hold on. I'm curious to see what silver is doing. What is silver doing? So I was anticipating we were going to get down. Where is my silver chart? There we go. So I was anticipating we were going to get down to like 1660s where I'm starting to buy physical silver. So we're getting pretty close. What do we get down to? 1750. So I'm pretty, yeah, I still think we're going to get down here. I still think we come down, you know, probably in the low to mid $15 range is where I think we're going. Yeah. Thoughts on XRP? For what? For like investment purposes or to like day trade it? Investment purposes. My thought is I'm personally not investing in any cryptos outside of my three until we get closer to the Bitcoin halving, which is like 500 days away, or the world economy shifts, you know, until we get out of a recession, until hyperinflation starts to ease, until monetary policies change, you're going to see a depreciation on everything that is risk on. So everything that is risk on, what is that? Well, that's indices, that's stocks, that's crypto. And just look at all your blue chip stocks. I think I talked about this last week. You know, every one of your blue chip stocks are in distribution. You know, look at Google, look at Tesla, look at Boeing. look at, look at your travel stocks, look at cruise liners, look at air stocks, look at banks. They're all in distribution. Why? Because there's been a massive, over the last 2.5 years, there's been a massive push to the upside. Profits have been taken, distribution orders have come in, short selling has started. And it's the whole very nature why when you look at every currency index except for the dollar index, they're red. Dollar index is always green, because what have they done? They've moved their profits into the dollar index, right? They've moved their profits into the US greenback, which is giving you such a higher yield on a safe government backed bond. And yeah, I think crypto's just going to continue to come lower. I'm personally not going to be like, what do we all talk about? BTC. I've been talking about BTC for what I've been saying, like 50, I think it's like between 6,000 and 8,000 is where I'm really going to be focused. Yeah, right here. I've been talking about this for a long time. This is when I get back involved in crypto. When we get between 57 and 8,600, this is where I start to get back involved. Until then, yeah, we still got a long ways to go. And there's no reason for us to continue higher with crypto. You look at XRP, I mean, okay. What about XRP? I mean, I'm in. I've purchased what I wanted. I got in this drop here. I got back in here, and I sold when we hit, I think, like $1.75. I sold most of what I had. I won't get back in until we probably come back. I mean, I know we tapped the 80, but there's no reason for XRP to go higher. There's fundamentally, there's no reason for more money to go into crypto, so, tech, no idea what you mean, bro. Would you day trade BTC or ETH for the mitigation play similar to indexes? I mean, I guess I would if it was advantageous to me, but every broker and every prop firm, so every prop firm I trade on crypto is garbage when it comes to spreads. So there's no point in me paying extra spread for it. And, there is no, as a US resident, there is no regulated US broker that I can use to trade crypto. So I personally don't day trade it. I just invest in it. If I'm gonna trade something, I'll trade something that gives me low spreads and doesn't cost me a lot of money to trade it, which isn't the case for crypto. Yeah. Will crypto not start a bull run? Eventually it will, but I mean, what's the on the crypto side? I mean, I don't know what gurus you follow on the crypto side, but just think about this, right? When does anybody know when the next Bitcoin halving is? I mean, I think it's at the date itself. I mean, I know it's based off of the block, the block reward times and stuff, but the TTD on it, I think, is like 500 days. The last time I checked a couple of weeks ago, and May 2024. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I know, like I said, it's like 500 days away. So until then, we're going to be in a crypto bear market until we get to the halving, right? Until the supply of Bitcoin gets cut in half on the block reward side. That's when the bull run will potentially start. And you can guarantee that you're going to get some form of manipulation before that happens. So my personal view is, right around that halving, there is going to be a dramatic spike to the downside, similar to what we saw here, right? And what am I anticipating? I'm anticipating that spike is going to come into here, and then that's where I'll start buying. Right now, there's no reason for a crypto bull run. Think about it. I mean, gasoline costs more money. Food costs more money. Paper towels cost more money. Is anybody's jobs, are they paying you extra for that inflation? No. So consumers have less money in their pockets, working more for it. And the cost of everything is creating a risk off, meaning like nobody's taking risk with their money. Why? Because you're hodling it. Like I'm not going out, spending extra cash just to spend it. We're in a recession. Things are going to get worse. And when it comes to investment purposes, why would investors what is the driving factor for any kind of investment, right? That you have potential for gain out of it. So who's out there going to buy new cars when they're charging more for new cars, right? I bought a new car back in May. They charged me an extra like $8,500, and I kid you not, it was for market offset conditions, is what they told me. Who's traveling? Who's doing any of that? No, you're not. Nobody. The average consumer is not doing that. So until investors see that consumers are going to spend more money, right, to appreciate stock valuations, they're not going to put money into stocks. If you're not putting money into stocks, you're not putting money into ETFs. You're not putting money into ETFs. You're not putting money into crypto. How many of you guys are walking around and say, hey, man, you know what? I got an extra $2,500 in my account. Let me go buy crypto with it. Because you have a thought that in 60 days, that $2,500 is going to be 5,000. I could probably tell you that $2,500 in the next 60 days will probably be worth 1,200. Nobody's got that dispensable income that they just want to start throwing money into dollar cost average on anything, because there's really no signs of it. There's no reason to it. Fundamentally, there is no reason to invest in high risk anything at this point. So, for me, like, what am I personally doing? I mean, when Bitcoin broke, like it did, I told everybody I was going to stables, which I did. And what did that do? That saved me, I mean, just off of what I've got right now, I think when I looked at it last, it saved me like 38%. So yeah, I mean, it says 44%, but I think it was like 38% is what I saved myself. So I saved 38% of my, what I had left in crypto. Yeah. What would I need to see technically on XRP to start looking for long positions? Technically nothing. Fundamentally, I would need the XRP lawsuit to be completely done with. And now, I know that it is pretty much done with, but I mean, I personally have no skin in the game with XRP. I'm holding, a couple of coins on it, a couple of tokens, and that's it. Like I have no expectation of being an XRP whale. I think Awanda allows crypto trading now for U.S. residents. At least that's what no. Awanda does not. Awanda doesn't allow you to trade US 30. They're not going to allow you to trade crypto. So I can't even trade gold on Awanda. So you can't trade CFDs or ETFs. Awanda only allows you to trade currencies. And the last time I checked, if you wanted to trade futures, I think Awanda allowed it, but it was only like a 1-to-3 leverage. So, yeah, no, it was horrible. Yeah. I mean, I didn't have a choice. We needed to get a car. So, Binance or FTX futures aren't good enough for you. Good enough for what? I mean, what's your leverage on your futures? You tell me. What's the leverage? No. Before we even get to spread, what's your leverage? What's your leverage on Binance or FTX? I've never looked at FTX futures, but no, not for a U.S. resident. I can guarantee you it's not 1 to 100. Yeah, 1 to 25. That sounds more like it. 1 to 25. Yes. So why am I going to work for half pay? So if I have 25 times the buying power, that means I'm pretty much going to get into one position, and that's it. And I have to wait for it to completely close out before I can do anything else, or I'll be over leveraged. So for me, anything under, I mean, I complain about 1 to 50 leverage. Anything under 1 to 50 leverage is garbage. You're absolutely not. You're not even able to utilize your full account. So yeah, no, it's not worth it for me. Because even if let's say I put $50,000 into which I would never do. I would never put it into a crypto exchange. Why do you not want to put large amount of money into a crypto exchange? Binance or FTX. Is your money safe there? Not your keys, not your coins. Yeah. If Binance right now decided that it needed to protect itself against bankruptcy, That's it. Everything that is in the Binance vault, if you will, right, is their property. You're not getting your money back. You're not going to, if I mean, just look at exchanges, what they do. They can immediately, I mean, Coinbase did it, what, right prior to the, oh, I know a lot of exchanges did it, but Coinbase, one of the largest exchange, stopped all Ethereum transactions. What was it? I think it was like 36 hours before the Ethereum merge. That's it. They control everything you're doing. So no, I mean, if you want to, if you want to trade on a crypto exchange, go for it. But know this, you have zero protection. At least, when I trade futures on TD Ameritrade, it's FDIC insured. So if I have I'm insured on that up to $250,000. All I do is fill out a claim. If they go bankrupt, I get my $250 back. I'm sorry, $250,000 back. So, same thing with Awanda. Awanda is backed by a capital group. That's why I use Awanda as my Forex currency broker, because if they go belly up, there's protections in place that I can get my money back. Can't do that on Binance. Can't do it on FTX. You'll get an IOU. You'll get a sorry. We're filing for Chapter 11. My bad. So, yeah. You really don't understand leverage. I'm sure there's a bunch of YouTube videos out there that you can, watch. It'll explain it. It's just borrowing power. So borrowing power versus the equity that you have at hand. Do you not use the FTMO? No, I don't use FTMO swing. Heck no. That's 1 to 30 leverage. No. Nope. Isn't that what happened to Celsius? Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what happened to Celsius. They stopped all transactions before people could really take any money out, and then that's what happened. Everyone lost everything they had in it. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to crypto exchanges, I can tell you, I do not keep nothing on a crypto exchange. If I'm going to sell something, I'm going to transfer it and then I'm going to sell it. If I buy something, I buy it and I get it right off. I mean, Qcoin, Kraken, those are my two big ones that I use. I buy it and I get it off. That's it. I don't keep anything on there. I definitely don't keep anything on Qcoin, but your XRP is locked on Coinbase. Oh, ever since they locked it, whatever, back when the SEC first filed. Yeah, man, that sucks. Isn't that the only FTMO account that will let you hold over the weekends and through news? I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, it is. Yep. Do I like MFF? I don't know. I don't have an account with them, so I don't know. Have you heard of Ment Funding? They allow compounding. I'm not sure about their leverage though. They allow compounding. What do you want to compound? I mean, I've heard people in my circle talk about them. They're, I wouldn't say that they've spoken highly of it, but yeah, give me the point of compounding your account. Instead of withdrawing, you can add to your balance. Okay. How come you won't? Why don't you want to withdraw it? I mean, you can add to your balance with any prop firm that I know of. I mean, I know TPT, if you don't withdraw, you can just keep compounding, but why would you want to? Yeah, there you go. Ment funding leverage is 1 to 10. I'm using FTMO swing and never had a problem with leverage. Okay. What's your oldest trade that you're holding on the books for FTMO swing? Two weeks. So you're not swing trading then. Yeah. I mean, just to give you an idea, these are my oldest trades on my books. Let's see. My oldest trades on my books are, I've got EU shorts from September 23rd, 2021 that I'm still holding on my prop firm. I have NZD CAD from November 18th. I have Chef JPY from September 21st. And what's the other one? Is this SPX? Hold on. I think I have an SPX one too. SPX and US 30. When are these from? Only from March 31st. So March 31st. So when it comes to swing trading, yeah, like that leverage is going to affect you because what you have open now you can't utilize. So yeah, your oldest trade is 2 weeks old. That's fine. You have no problem with leverage. But imagine holding these trades for that amount of time. When you hold it, even though the stop loss is deep in profits, I still have leverage being used against it. So yeah, that's where it affects me greatly. So do you not use FTMO for your larger swing trades? No, I don't. No. I have an alarm set on my phone and on my computer on Fridays at 3 p.m. to close out my stupid FTMO trades. So nope. Meant funding sucks in your opinion? Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard anything good about it. I don't know. I've never looked at it. So how significant are profits holding that long? I would say pretty significant, you know. I mean, I'm probably like on EU, I'm probably on EU, I'm holding maybe at this point $25 worth of volume, and it's you know, let's just say I can go buy a car with cash for the profits that I'm holding, and you know, most brokers are paying positive swap on EU shorts. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, let me ask you a question. If I were to tell you that you would put $50 on a trade and you would come back in a year and that $50 was 100K, would you keep the trade open? Right. So let's look back at it. Right. I won't even talk about Chef J. Let's just do EU. Right. Let's do EU. And I got into EU. When did I say that was? So I got in my EU short. When the hell was this? My EU short was September 23rd at 117,436. So it was September 23rd at price point 117,436. So that was, let's just go 4-hour time frame. I mean, I remember the position. Can you download the lot size calculator for MT4 on a Mac desktop? You mean the position size calculator that I use? Yeah, you can. I mean, I'll tell you this. I used to use MT5 and MT4 on my Mac. I stopped using it just because it was so much easier to use it on a. So I have a laptop that I have off to the side of my desk, and the only thing on that laptop is MT5. So yeah, this was the position I took. Where was it? It was, oh yeah, right here. So this is where I got in right there. That's my oldest short on EU. We came back into here, you know. I mean, I've talked about this short. I mean, you can go back to September 2021 Zoom call and just look at that short, but it was a pretty easy play. So this was it. That's it right there. That's my short. So as soon as this thing, you know, comes back into it, but that was the short. So all right, so we know that that's where I got in, and then just look at where we're at. You know, what was my target? My target all along was to make a new low, and I mean this is where I got in right over. Oh, there it is. So that's where I got in right over here. Look what we've done. So in that time, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's got, I'll tell you right now, I've got 1.54 lots left open on that. In the original order, I think it was like a 2-pip stop loss. So I think the original order off of, at the time, it was like a 200K account that I was trading on it through TPT. You know, it was, what did I risk? $250. Yeah. So I risked $250 on the trade on a 200K account. And I want to say it was probably in the neighborhood of like 12 or 13 lots total that I traded. So I've got 1.54 left. And I can tell you that I've made a little over $374.25 just in swap fees. So the brokers paid me $374. But yeah, I mean, I can cash this out and go buy a car with it, cash. So it's worth it. The one thing I'll tell you this, the one thing I don't have to do about EU shorts, I don't stress about them, right? I know every day I'm still making money off of it, right? And I can continue. I mean, look at it. Just look at the 4-hour chart. When was the last time EU? Hold on. I know there's a lot on this chart. When was the last time EU broke order flow on this? No, nowhere. I mean, we just keep dropping. So yeah. All right. Let me catch up real quick. I'm starting to update my vocab to position. Yeah. No, I don't. FTMO, I close out every week. That's why I really honestly hate my FTMO account. That's why I never really maxed anything out. I took 2 100K FTMO challenges, and so I have a 200K account with them. That's all I have. Yeah. Yeah, you got it. You use the Earn Forex. Yeah. Yep. That's what I use. Earn Forex. Yep. What are my thoughts on MetaTrader being banned? I didn't think it was banned. Where is it being banned? I think the Apple Store just took it off. That's all they did. But I don't think it's being banned. To my knowledge, you could still go and just download the desktop version. Yeah. Was that a 0.25% risk, or a full risk, or a full percent? Man, I can't tell you the last time I risked a full percent. It's got to be like 5 years. Full risk for me is a 0.25%. No, that EU short, I think that EU short $250 on a 200K account was a 0.16%. So yeah. Yeah. I mean, so that's pretty much everything, I'm looking at. Like I said, I've got to run. I'm going to go jump, and I got to watch my daughters play real quick. And hopefully it made sense. Hopefully you guys got some value out of it tonight, man. And hopefully NFP week, stay safe, enjoy the week. There's going to be probably some decent price action. So with that, thanks for hopping on. I will catch everybody later. Have a great one.